Hello, fellow Mythrunians. Welcome to another live stream. We're kind of, in a sense, we're leaving off where we left off last time, although I did get a lot of stuff done this weekend. We're just trying to, finalize all this prototyping into real Java code and integrate it into the game. And I'm just kind of hacking as I go and slashing and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get started. We see the, the patrons. So I'm kind of in the middle of stuff. And so you're going to catch me mid work here. Let's see. So yeah, I have a new nomenclature for everything. Let me see if I can describe it. So let us see. I don't know if this is a better. It's good to be connected here though. That was fast. Good on you, Miro. Oh yeah, my documents are closed. That's lame. Yeah, my computer rebooted. It was getting hot here. Right now it's cold, but it was getting hot, and it caused this machine to reboot. But anyway, I was having issues because I had too many names with the word mode in them, and so I had to start prefixing. So I had agent mode and movement mode and all these different modes. And so I had a interactive session with Google Gemini trying to figure out a better name for this. I kind of described what they were supposed to do, and with some back and forth there, I was able to find some better names and naming is important because the names helped me better define the separation. I find it interesting because sometimes I would ask it for a name and an idea for a name, and it would give me a suggestion, and I would instantly know, oh no, that's not right. And sometimes that was as important as right answers. But let's say we've got so the big one was initially I wasn't sure, there's a mode of the brain, right? If in a behavior tree, it would be kind of like the root behaviors, sort of like in a state machine, it's kind of like the root states. So I use it kind of like a state machine that controls which behavior tree to use. And so came up with the thing. It used to be mode or something, and now it's disposition. The overall state of the brain. Working, sleeping, that kind of thing. And then we've got what should I talk about next would be well, let me just go as I think of them. Locomotion, which used to be movement mode, takes physics forces and makes takes steering inputs and contacts and makes motion through the physics engine. And then we've got posture, which is the sort of base animation state of the agent, sitting versus standing. Doesn't matter what locomotion mode you're in. If you're sitting, probably there's a locomotion associated with sitting. But posture implies that there's a graph. So movement from standing to sleeping may require more than one interim transition. So it knows if you're standing and you need to get into bed, you're going to have to sit on the edge of the bed, so that is a sitting, and then from sitting you may have to go to so you go to sleeping, and so it knows how to get from one posture to another if there's interim postures that it has to go through. And then what's the other one? Shoot. the motion animator. Takes motion information and produces pretty animation. So it picks, in the standard classic case, my simple walk, it's kind of like the default movement. It uses the speed of the character to pick which animation. In fact, if we look at... So I've formalized this, and I've built it into the rig itself. So if we come over here to the rig and we open a rig, let's open the human female. This definition has always been here, but I wasn't using it for anything except for prototyping like a long time ago. But now it's actually built into the rig itself. You've got this sort of these... there we go. Let me center on her for a second. Okay. So we've got these, that's like her collision shapes. So it defines what speed you would get each of the things. So like if she goes more than 2 velocity, she'll kick into the jog. So if we see, she'll like transition into walk. And then and that scales a certain amount as she gets faster. And then as she gets above 2, she'll start running. And in this case, we've also defined what going backwards looks like. Eventually, probably she won't be able to jog backwards, but I just kind of mirrored them for now. So if she starts walking backwards, so she can walk backwards and forwards. Yeah, right. She's got bulbous issues. And so the other thing is I built in a threshold so that there's a little bit of sliding that can happen. Because what I was finding was, especially on ramps and things, the character would move a little bit and then enter walk mode, and that would change all the collision shapes, and then it would move in more, and so it would never really settle down. And so I've added like a small, 0.1 meter per second buffer to keep them still. Anyway, so I did this for all the characters. Also, I've defined what falling looks like. So in this case, she just goes into the default pose, every time she falls. So these are now built into the rig, and they can play out in here. What I'm working on right now is implementing. So as I've talked about, these are the kind of. Let me make sure that's all of them, because I feel like I'm missing one. Yeah. Disposition, activity, action, posture, locomotion, motion animator. Yeah, I think I got them all. Oh, activity. That's the one we worked on before. That already had a name, but the so activity is the AI plan and action execution pathfinding header behavior tree like. Oops. Yeah, so those are like the separations of concerns. Right now so I've got motion animator implemented, and that's actually built into the rig now. And so all of these guys can take input and pick the right animation, and I was able to clean out a lot of code from the prototype. Right now what I'm working on is redoing the locomotion, and I've got an issue. So before there was only like the bipedal movement, the one that's so this is one of the locomotions that triggers the walk and run and stuff when she's moving around. But I've been trying to implement like a static one for when that override. So used to be there was only one, but now you can have switchable locomotions. And so like one of them is like the action where she'll just like bang the hammer or whatever. And so that's one. But the other one was sitting in the chair. And that's what I was working on right before the live stream, and it's got an issue because before she would sit in the chair, now she sits in the wrong direction. She walks over, she sits down, and then immediately, so I took something out to test something, and now it's even worse. But so Stan, if we sit in the chair, she sits. Oh, but now it's working. I wonder if I just needed to have reloaded, but I didn't reload anything. That's really bizarre and a little annoying. Let's try again. Because before, no matter what I would do, and I think actually she's trying to mess up. So no matter what I would do, she would instantly face north before sitting down. And so she would be sitting in the open air. Let's try go into the bed and see if she does. See, yeah. So the bed is completely wrong too. So there's still something wrong with the orientation. It was working before, and so she hops out of the bed in the right place, so it knows where she's supposed to be. So there's something wrong with something. And I try not to get too sidetracked on bugs, but in this case, the whole locomotion idea is that these should be swappable things. And if the swapping is not working correctly, then I have to fix it. Like, right now, pathfinding is all kind of janky, but it works, technically works. And so I've left the jank in for the moment because, like, I'm just trying to get this integrated. So let's see if the chair will screw up again. Yeah, so see, now the chair's screwing up. She's, like, facing the complete wrong direction. So we need to start debugging that. But that's where I am. The other thing I did, I added a couple more materials to the clothing editor because I got tired of not having like black pants and dark brown pants and stuff, so I went ahead and added a couple more materials. But that like was quick. It was mostly yeah, so that wasn't the problem. Let's try again. Yeah, see, she does that every time. I guess without the thing, station is not equal to null. So to me, that indicates that the station orientation is incorrect. Let's just double check. And because to me, like reading a quaternion means nothing, we will see what direction that actually means. So we're taking the orientation of the station is like for station keeping, you can set with a particular locomotion, like I want to stay in this position no matter what. And once you've set that, so we're going to like hard code the position and orientation, at least in the XZ apparently. The idea being that there's when you're sitting in a chair or that you're actually attached to that chair, you're not going to go sliding around. And so like here I'm just multiplying by the z vector, unit z, so that I can see what direction that is. I should like be dumping a bunch of stuff if it's working correctly. Well, after I sit again. And so it should be pointing in the x direction, but I suspect we will point, let's change chair. Yeah, so we're pointing directly north. So orientation is incorrect. So this particular locomotion and implementation is behaving correctly. It was given the wrong station. And so that is how we will sort it out. And yeah. Alright, so let's cancel. Yeah, so that's also why she pops back up exactly in the right orientation again. Because the old bipedal movement mode, which is now a locomotion also, it reset back to its own heading. This is another thing, is like I have like this idea of a 2D heading. Like when you're in a walking around the world mode, your up and down doesn't have any bearing on which way you're heading, and so this keeps track of motion in 2D space, basically. No roll, just yaw and pitch. But they're not shared between this guy and this guy, which is an issue. Like, I tried to make sitting down separate from this locomotion. Really, locomotion is supposed to handle things like I'm walking or I'm flying or I'm swimming, but I thought it might be convenient if I could implement static ones to say I'm not moving but I'm sitting kind of thing. But it could be this is wrong-headed because as it turns out, even the static ones, they want to slide around a little bit. Like the chair, what it does, it puts her in sit mode, and then once she's in sit mode, it backs her up a little bit, like she's sitting back and down into the chair. So there needs to be a little bit of steering that happens to position her over the center of the chair. And so I ended up having to add motion in, but that means I needed heading, and heading was incorrect. So let me just do another double check here. Starting orientation. I'm going to kill this. And so this is just to make sure everything is what I think it is when we start. Not gonna lie, this is normally the kind of thing that's easier to debug when I'm not talking about it, but okay, so what was the initial? Oh, I think I create that too soon. Maybe. Starting orientation. It should be in the static locomotion. Yes, it should be up here somewhere. Yeah, so starting orientation was wrong too. We were already facing the wrong direction. When this was created. And yet, when we stand back up, she's facing in the right direction. Alright, so we're going to see where we're creating this, because already the rigid body is facing in the wrong direction. I kind of feel like we shouldn't even be creating this until we start. Yeah, because initialize, yeah, that makes no sense. So we'll create it here. And let me just check one other place. Yeah, put you down here. Thing is, when we, so they, all of the actions get initialized at once, but they don't start until they're actually run, and this is where we'd want to capture the latest state of the body and so on. This may fix that problem. Let's see. Okay, so right now, right now she's faced, so this is like, if I click the chair button, it was initializing all those actions. This is the direction she would have been facing. So that's the direction the heading would have set. So let's see if it works now. Yay! Okay, let's try sleep. Yay! Alright. We fixed a bug together, guys. Whee! Okay, so that's one more step. I wish I didn't have to reverse engineer the heading in a static in the locomotion. But on the other hand, it's like I may actually not need this. But that is it's working and it's not causing a problem. But the idea of heading is very specific to bipedal movement, and I was hoping to be able to just include it only in here, and each of the different kinds of movement would have their own different ones. Like swimming would have a 3D heading, like literally you really could roll, and I mean I won't probably support rolling because it makes things confusing, but flying would have it. So the you know what, actually heading is 3D. It does have roll. It just only turns left and right, which isn't correct as far as 3D. So kind of is 2D, 2.5D. But it could be expanded and put right on the agent, I suppose. The player itself has a concept of that because you can't roll. You can only yaw and pitch. For those unfamiliar with the terms, yaw is when you're looking left, right like this, and pitch is when you're looking up and down, and roll would be like this. And most, Quake style movement games don't have a roll typically, unless it's like a temporary peek around the door kind of thing. Oh. Yeah, I got woken up this morning because I heard a dripping sound. And as I was laying there trying to see if it was really a dripping sound, I kept hoping it was like a bug trying to hit the wall or something, but I'm like, no. Bugs don't have that good of a rhythm. Because it was like every 4 or 5 seconds. Pop. Pop. And so you're laying there thinking it is either a bad problem or a really, really, really bad problem. And so I had got up like 2 or 3 hours before I was normally meant to get up to go find in my bedroom where the water was dripping. And I found there was a leak in the ceiling. And so tracing all that, I ended up climbing out on the roof so that I could move leaves and stuff from the gutter, because we've got our roof needs to be replaced, and I'm trying to like drag my feet as long as possible because that's an expensive thing. But we had like a huge pile of leaves and stuff build up on like where the two roofs meet kind of thing. And so I went up out on the lower roof and cleared all that off, and the dripping stopped. So I'm like, okay, problem for another day then. But apparently it hadn't been going very long because the wet spot on the carpet wasn't too big. But yeah, so that woke me up early this morning, and then I've been kind of catching up all day. Alright, so that's fixed. That is working. Okay, you can stand back up. Wake up! Let's get her to go to work so that she's out of the bedroom. Follow. Oops. Here we go. Yeah, so she's a little janky in her path following. Didn't even open the door. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Cancel. Why didn't you open the door? What's up with that? I don't see. So let's try going back to sleep. Yeah, that's the other thing. She always takes the little stairs. See, this is the janky pathfinding, right? So she's doing this janky, sometimes fails pathfinding up the little stairs. But it would have been easier and better and faster for her to go up the big stairs. Oh, so the door itself is not working. She opened it. The visualization is broken. because it pushed her back as she was coming through. So let's try going back out again. Like, I think we'll see the debug shape open and close. Yep. It's just the okay, so the visual door didn't fix. So that's a visualization problem. I'm not going to worry about it. It was working like earlier today. I don't know what I broke. Good times. Always something. Always something. Ah, see, that one's working. Yeah, so maybe it's just a temporary thing. Okay. And see, all this stuff still works. She should still be able to make a dagger. She'll go over to the thing and get the hammer and the thing, and she'll make the dagger. And she'll send it into the thing. Doors, roofs, always something broken in a house. Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah, and our house is pretty old, and we haven't always taken the best care of it because life. You know, for a while it was my wife's health was kind of our primary focus. You know, keeping the kids raised well and dealing with that, and so like the house took secondary backseat, and so there's a lot of outside stuff, especially the jungle in the backyard that's not supposed to be a jungle. They kind of fell by the wayside. So these problems fester and they just become too big to handle easily. And so, you know, and you prioritize different. But when some relatively inexpensive problems then become big problems. And the roof is an example of that. We had some hail damage, and we had guys coming by you know, the guys who come by and try to sell you a new roof, right? But several of them actually showed me pictures of the hail damage. It's mostly over the garage, though, so I wasn't too concerned. But said, you know, we could get your insurance company involved and stuff. And, yeah, and I just never did it because I'm resistant to involve my insurance company in things, and roofs are expensive. But I probably should have done it in retrospect. The other thing is scheduling it. It's the same reason like I haven't put new windows in the house. There's like, so our house was built in 1979, so it's quite old, and still has the original windows in, so it's quite drafty, and we were really feeling it this winter. Yeah, I probably need to sink, you know, several tens of thousands of dollars into my house that I just don't have. Okay, so that's working. Locomotion is settling itself. So we might actually be able to turn this into real code. Yeah, so earlier I was basically finding things that I didn't need anymore because the regular Java code does it now, and I was ripping it out. This get average speed. There's a couple of these that I don't know if we really need. What uses get? So yes, get average speed is in fact used. But it occurs to me that the probe and the avoidance. No, I guess that is part of just general steering. Yeah, so you get these weird things. So we have that probe that goes before. It's kind of this shape, but it goes before the player before the character is walking around to hit random things and turn them away, and so it's involved in the steering solution, and then it's the steering solution that's sent to the movement mode. But it occurs to me that when you switch the movement mode from like swimming to flying, you may also be switching the avoidance strategy. Again, I gotta not get wrapped around this thing. It will work the way it is, and if I find that I'm always changing the movement mode at the same time as I'm changing the probe stuff, then so be it. But so yeah, that's why we need the average speed, because we need to tell the probe how far ahead to be And that also needs to be somewhat controlled by the pathfinding. Currently we just disable it in some cases, but we may want to scale the distance back. So I'm going to leave it the way it is for now. Set animation. This is not correct. If the current action finishes, or if the so if we cancel the current action, it's not null. Oh, that's not good. It is very sensitive. Like, I don't know if it's me clipping or it's just static coming over the line. But I am clipping a lot. I'm looking over at the screen. But you're just saying like static comes in. So I'm trying to be quiet to see if static comes or if it's only like when I'm talking extra loud. Like if I do like this, it clips a lot. Is that when it was being staticky? So I do not think we should be setting animations directly anymore. White noise for a few seconds, then it's gone again. Oh, lovely. I wonder if that's me or YouTube or something in between. Let me switch over and can I monitor? Let's see. So now we get like this cool reverb. See if I hear any of the static. No. So I don't hear static on my system. So it's not on the inputs. It's something between OBS and YouTube, I guess. It's very strange. Alright, so why are we doing this? No. This would be now set locomotion. Come on, baby, set the locomotion. I think what cancels this? Okay, well, what cancel was the other then? Okay, so that's the one if the action fails. We're trying to reset things. Like, things went bad, we're trying to reset things, so that's right. And then here, similarly, we are trying to reset things. And so we will set locomotion. Oh, we already set it down there, so we don't need this here. Alright, so set animation can probably go away. Did I kill them all? I did. Kill them all. Okay, so everything should still work the same as it did before. Well, to those of you who are experiencing occasional bouts of white noise, I apologize. I am not sure what I can do about it, unfortunately. He still got a hammer. Alright, what else? I wish I could. I want to make her be able to hold the hammer. That would be cool. Like in this, I can't. In the game, I can. Okay. What else? So here is the part where I would save what I got, commit it, and then delete a bunch of stuff. But before we do that, Let's change the name of this to bipedal locomotion. Let's change the name. Save. Gonna make sure everything is still working correctly. That looks correct. Okay, so control. Can she still do all this? So the other thing is I need to mess with the probe avoidance at some point because she can't walk up ramps because the probe gets in the way. So when I switched the collision shapes, I think I messed up the thing that detects whether it should steer away from a ramp or not. So I need to go back. Fortunately, it doesn't do anything going backwards, so we can still back up hills. So I just want to check and make sure her fall is still correct. She still, yep, goes to default mode. Okay, so that's still right. The other thing we will do is we will create a Gafin. Gafin has special. So already I've decided, by the way, that for this weekend to try to get all this into Mythruna, I'm going to have to make compromises, and so. For sure, the bird and the butterfly will continue to use the old AI system. Humanoid characters and the Gafin for sure will use the new one. And the dog I'm on the fence about because the quadruped has special case handling that's required. And I'm not sure just slapping it in is going to be a good idea. And it already works, sort of, you know. So same thing, it's going to try to steer away, so we're going to have to back up. So there's no backwards animation. So this is one of my tests. I need to add one, but there's currently no backwards animation. I also need to slow it down. What is its normal speed here? Let's try 0.25. Oops, control. Yeah, so that's like its normal 0.3 or 0.25. It's a little waddle walk speed. So now if we make it fall off, and it doesn't have a backup animation yet, which I need to add. So now if we make it fall off, it should do its little flappy thing. Flap, flap, flap. Yeah. Like we can... Oops. Yeah, its collision shape's also kind of large anyway. So let's go over here and run up the... Yeah, I need to add backwards walk animation. Yeah, so let's back off and you can see she'll flip into the... Oh, it's not letting me back off. There we go. Hey. So, yeah. So that's the one that has like a custom... custom fall mode. So that's how I know that works. But so I haven't set up proper fly mode. Well, I did set up a fly mode for the bird, but I don't have a fly locomotion, and that's the thing I'm not sure I'm going to get done today or this weekend. So that's why birds and butterflies, which fly most of the time, are probably going to keep with the old until I can work out their locomotion. All right, so let's stop this, and we will see what we changed. Just the one file. Cool. Finalizing locomotion. What? I haven't even looked at my commit stats recently. Probably very high. Oh, real quickly, I can show you guys the clothing colors. I'm trying to do better about running the game at least once a stream for those who are might fast forwarding through, and I don't want them to think the game looks like the playground there. But of course, this particular world I'm in is not a great looking one either. But oh, come on, there you go. You get it. Is the noise still happening? wonder where it comes from. I wonder if let me try something. Yeah. Okay, let me try this. I wonder if it's this thing. Okay, so there. Let me know if that made it better. There is the connection to the other computer that supposedly transfers audio. I don't see it generating any audio, but I'm just wondering if maybe there was some dirty stuff coming through. So let me know if it got better. Yeah, so this is the other thing is I run frequently to check all these stack traces to see what I broke. Okay, those are all just my checks to see how slow the game is running. Nope, no change. Okay. Well, it was worth a try. It was worth a try. Yeah, so nothing on my end is indicating the noise. So that's really weird. Okay, so let's make it daylight out. Okay, so yeah, I think this looks much better than the physics prototype. Did I put a statue in here? I did. Cool. Okay. So, yeah, so I have like black pants now. You couldn't make black pants before. And these are even the twill, so they have like, you know, a little bit of wear and tear on the knees and stuff. And I made some new boots that look like more strappy, like they've got like straps of, it's supposed to be fur, but the fur for some reason is shiny, which is another thing I'm going to have to fix. But you know, I was trying to come up with good, you know, bandit attire. I may actually make another dark leather color, because I think that is the dark aged. And I kind of want to have a black aged leather, or like a super dark brown. So anyway, I may make some more earth tones, because we've got like all the crazy colors. But we don't have a whole lot of like natural colors. But now you have like black shirts and things too, so so that works. She looks a little funny in this light. Need to tweak the faces, I think. Let's see what color is she. Yeah, so she's got pretty okay colors. Alright, so that's that. Yeah, I mean, I can show you the actual swatches. Okay, so we do the just this show hat here. So the new ones are in the wool. Now there is black, which is really, really black. If you want like a black fabric, that is as black as you get. And then there's a brown, which we didn't have before. So we've got this dark brown color, which I'm rather fond of. And then I think in the twill, there was already a brown, but it's a lighter brown. So good for some things, not as good for others. And then now there's the black twill, which I'm fond of. And the cool thing about it is like, yeah, so it's the twill fabric is designed to have like worn places on the elbows and the knees and the the places that denim would wear, so you get like brighter spots there. Anyway, so it's kind of cool. All right, so now we can go back into what we were doing. All right, so the next step will be, I think, pulling locomotion, the interface, out into a real class. I think I'm good with this. Just to remind myself, useful for feeding, contact, avoidance, etc. All right. So let us go over here. Oh, the other thing is all that motion animator stuff I put right in the C-Rig package, which is the character rig. That's one of the Moss open source libraries, available early access if you're a patron. But that's where this motion animator stuff is directly on the rig, which is kind of cool. And then internally, when you create one with the rigger tool, it creates this threshold manipulator for whatever movement modes you've defined. And so that's all built into the character rig. You just say, hey, get motion animator and apply motion. And now the anim pump is there too, so you can have... So like the character rig itself just gives you these raw, set time, set action, because it's designed to be general and controllable over the network and things like that. But then there's the idea of an anim pump, animation pump, which you can just call update with the time, and it'll automatically advance the time. It'll roll the time around when it reaches past the length and so on and so forth. And you can have different ones for different layers and so on. And so I exposed this officially now instead of just as a utility because all of those different motion animators needed it. They need to share the same anim pump or they get really confused. And so now this is like, I like it because the API itself is getting solidified a bit. Okay, so we want to, but I'm going to make for now I'm going to put locomotion in Mythruna directly because I'm not sure it's exactly right yet. So we've got the new agent over here. Let's put locomotion. Maybe we'll make a package for locomotion. We can keep the related things in there. Okay, so locomotion. It will be open source at some point, so I'm going to leave the full copyright in, but for now it is in Mythruna Brain locomotion. Come on, baby. It's almost impossible not to hear that song. Come on, baby, do the locomotion. Not Mefty, Mafty. Mefty is a completely different package. Alright, interface. Joink. Change the average speed body controlled by this locomotion object. Alright, so that is set up there. Let us move this. And we'll add another import at the top. To import locomotion. So I'm disappointed that there's noise on the live stream. I assume it's still happening. I cannot tell. When it happens, does it cover up my audio, or is it just in addition to my speaking? Probably you guys have muted me. Okay, that's good. It's just in the background. Okay. That sucks. Alright, so next step will be, assuming this works at all, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my experience I had using Gemini to discuss these names and the design. I've long felt that there are like two types of people, those who talk about doing something and those who actually do something. And I think there's something to that. Hello? Okay, can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Is it noisy? Yeah, so let me know if it's still noisy. Say noisy, yes. And then I have a theory about the noise too. It might actually be my headset. let me check something. So I'm gonna, no noise yet. Okay, so let's undo this for a second. Yeah, so the missing audio, so now we got a lot of sort of reverb and stuff. The missing audio was because, for whatever reason, this little switch got turned off, or it was like partly flipped or something on my headset. It's always a good time. Oh, so there's also some shorting in the connection apparently. So let me know if the noise comes back. Does anybody know what I was talking about when the sound cut off? Anyway, I'll start over. So in my talk with Google Gemini about the design stuff, telling it about my design in order to get it to give me names was kind of exciting, because they're programmed to like be really nice about it. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, this is super cool. Yeah, I like it with separation and etc. It's like very encouraging. And I started to feel a lot of the like kind of endorphin rush you get when you're telling somebody about one of your creative projects. And it occurred to me that that's a very dangerous path, because like I was saying earlier, I have always felt like there's two types of people: those who talk about stuff and those who actually do stuff. And because when you talk about something, you get that endorphin rush, and sometimes that gives you the energy that like you won't get that again. Like when you actually get you've used up some of your motivation, because creating things is hard. It's hard to stay motivated, hard to stay consistent, and so you need to look forward to those little endorphin rushes when you get to show things to people. And if you've already like sapped most of that away just talking about it, you are that much less likely to do it. And it occurred to me that that's the danger of the kind of design discussion I was having with Google Gemini, is that I was getting some of that little rush. And fortunately, it was just enough to make me inspired to go make it, but it did clue me in as a potential danger. All right, where were we? Oh yes, so I was going to also look at bipedal locomotion and figure out what I can remove. Force orientation is used when we teleport. That is probably still necessary. Unclear. I don't think we use this anymore. I think I can get rid of this. Should be commented out everywhere except here. Yeah, but that's a false branch that doesn't work anymore. Yeah. Okay, so let's get rid of it, and we'll move all of these. Okay, I think I can get rid of these two. So if the noise comes back, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to assume we fixed it. And if you guys have any similar experiences working with AI, you can let me know that too. That might be interesting to talk about. I find like Gemini being sort of a lightweight, built into the search engine kind of AI, it makes a really good light collaborator, because you really can't get too deep with it. So there is that. It's been tremendously helpful with me setting up my studio. Alright, so set motion type should also no longer be used by anything. Oh no. Oh, that's a different one, yeah. So this set motion type. Oh no, yes, right. We still do fall through here. That's probably accurate because falling wouldn't mean anything if you were flying. But it's an internal. Yeah, internal, so it's not public. No worries. No worries. Okay, so we might be pretty close to being able to start porting this stuff. I'm looking for Groovyisms. Sometimes Groovy lets me get away with some dynamic typing that when I go to do the actual typing in Java, I realize that there's an API dependency that has not been fleshed out. I do worry about this force orientation. And so far, it was only used for teleport. Oh, I don't need any of these movement mode things anymore. I can get rid of them. So we can get rid of anything related to movement mode because we committed that already. I mean, it's just a pattern I pick up where I comment it out, commit it, and then delete it, but it's really not necessary. Okay, so movement mode has been eradicated. Oh boy. Okay, so what do we have to move out next? Got that as a real class. Character heading probably also should be a real class. Standing state as well, to be honest. Standing state could probably use a better name, in fact. Keeps track of whether we've got a ground contact underneath us. It also calculates our basis. So yeah, I guess standing state. Problem is, like in JMonkey Engine, the word state is so specifically used for something that probably wasn't a great name for it at the time, but it's been, many, more than a decade now that's been in practice. So, all right, so let's move character heading, and we'll try to move standing state. And timed state is timed state used. So I think timed state is used to detect how long we've been falling. Yeah. And so then falling, we say, if we're falling, set the state, and then we update. And so if we're in that for a particular amount of time, then so we could probably call it timed conditional. All right, let's just dive in. Let's grab all three of these utility classes. I'll go ahead and kill. Well, I'll leave it running just in case we need to check something while we're working. All right, so we'll start with character heading. That is a reasonably good name for that class. And then we'll move this like this. All right, so these things. Mythruna .brain .locomotion. And close. Whoops. Nope. Close that. All right. Oops. All right. All of those should be mob specific. But so we could potentially have those as constructor parameters, but they aren't at the moment. Okay. So turn. Yeah, so this saws left, right, but let's call it just yaw. And we will first just wire that over to the other one, but I want to lock in a name and then we can convert the code when we start using it. Okay, so that's all good, all good. I need to import SimSilica mathd.star. Orientation, yeah, we do a little yeah. Okay, so then we're good there. Let's go ahead and add a toString while we're here. Turn get class. Simple name. Yaw. Pitch. Roll. That's how we roll. Okay. Alright, I am going to kill this for a second because I just want to see if things compile. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. That didn't feel like it compiled. Because it didn't. Oh. SimSilica. There we go. I'm surprised I didn't get an error about the package not existing. Oh, I did right here. Alright. Adjust yaw. Okay, we're kicking butt and taking names here. Alright, so the next one we want is I'm gonna do timed conditional. Timed conditional. Conditional. And we will add a little Java doc as well. Mythruna. Brain. It's used by locomotion, but this is actually more general. Okay, private. Keep your privates in your class where they're supposed to be. Public timed conditional. I just prefer to have them. If log.isTrace enabled. Log.trace. If I needed it one day, I'll probably need it again. Public string to string at override. Who here has seen the movie Hackers? State. The reason I ask is because there's a character in there, his hacker name is Crash Override. I think about that frequently as I'm typing override. It's not a great movie, but I'm still willing to defend it on several levels. Because some of the things that it gets picked on for are unjustified. Okay, that looks okay to me. I don't even think we need any special external classes. We do not. Okay, so that's that. We did that one. We ported heading. Left is standing state, and I really would like a better name for this. It takes contacts in and using the current. Okay, oh, so it's doing two different things. Yeah, it's two different things that's doing. Is it even using these for... So a new contact, it's setting on ground true. It figures out what the other body is. Yeah, so it's calculating the ground velocity and the ground normal. That is why. So that we need the calculation of the basis is using all of that stuff that we accumulated based on the contacts. So it is the state of us standing on the ground. And it is the state of standing. So it is the standing state. It's just unfortunate that JMonkey Engine uses the word state for something else entirely. I would ask Gemini real quick, but I actually can't do it on this computer. Like, it doesn't run. Alright. If the static comes back, let me know. I've just readjusted the cable again. I could flip over to the other computer real quick and ask. Let me see. I'm curious what Google will say. And I already have the conversation going, so. Which one? Is it this one? No. So the only thing is you guys won't be able to see this. I have an object that keeps track of the agent, the character contacts, ground contacts per frame. Provide information about whether it is standing on the ground and what the surface normal basis, etc. are. I'm having trouble naming this object. Grounding info, ground contact, surface anchor. Nah, see? Sometimes the ideas it gives me are just as grounding info. I don't hate it. So in its description, so it you can't see this. But it says grounding info, the mathematical reality of the floor, and normals / basis. I almost like the word floor better. Grounding to me means something else. How would you like to design the internal? I already have it, so you don't have to worry about that, Google. I can write my own code, thank you. Specifically how to cleanly compute a stable movement basis vector on steep slopes. Hey, I actually may post my code in later and ask it if I'm doing it correctly, but I so far called it standing state. I have so far called it standing state, but the word state is overused in the game engine. It always like backs it up with like so there's the argument from authority, which is like you don't really have to provide evidence for anything. You can just say, well, I'm an expert. And Gemini has like its own version of that, which is like the standard name for the specific data structure in industry-grade physics engines and custom kinematic character controllers is grounding status, or ground info. I actually like grounding status okay. Status is actually not a bad word at all. Footing. Footing I like a lot. Ha. Google sometimes accidentally gives me. Alright, so now we can flip back over. Sorry that you guys couldn't see all that. So let's so we got grounding. I wish I could take a poll, right? Grounding status or footing. Names are important, guys, so don't pick on me for wanting to get this right. Footing. I like footing, but And the other thing is, if I pick a really unique name like this is not like anything else in any of my code. It will be really easy to change it later. Right? Standing state sounds too much like many other things. It's conceivable that there is already a class named standing state somewhere in, theoretically in JMonkey engine or in any of my other modules because state is so overused. It's conceivable that such a thing already exists. I'm going to go with footing for now. I'm curious if if all two of you on the chat have an opinion. Actually, YouTube says there's only 2 on, but I've seen 3 people in the chat, I think. Oh, maybe I'm counting myself. Yeah, it's just Ramkram and Ig. So, alright. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Alright, so let's do footing. I like footing. Anyway, yeah, for naming things, can recommend. Gemini is pretty good about that. Footing. And it will need to know the body. Import some silica. Math D. It will need to know mphys. So I see these different things. Private, blink. Yes, those are all in math. Non-ground friction. So keeps track of the ground contact state or status and basis of where the body is standing. Basis in this case means something specific. Like it's a specific orientation is the basis. So like I can tell you wherever I'm standing, not only what up is relative to the surface, but what forward is and what sideways is based on my orientation on the... And actually it's funny, you guys didn't see the description, but Google Gemini picked up on that just by the word basis, because it was already asking me how I wanted to calculate those on a steep slope and stuff. So yeah. So this is a Vec 3D. This is also a Vec 3D. It'll be interesting to see if I can make this compile the first time. Actually, I don't even think I tried to compile. Have I saved this yet? I did. Okay. I don't think I've tried to compile the other one yet. All right. Depth, rigid body. Now see, these are all going to be... I'm going to get flagged with warnings because rigid body is a genericized type. All right. At override. No. All right, so we've got I think probably I had everything I needed to do the calculate basis without passing the facing dir, except for that I'm probably thinking to be efficient because I've got the facing dir somewhere else already. Let's see if this compiles. That's right. So we can say abstract body. Yeah. Oh, somebody else joined. Welcome to the chat. So we can only do that if it's a rigid body. We're going to doink. Yeah, some of the groovy-isms, right? But we're almost there. Look at that. Whee! Okay, so the other thing is in the actual script, what did I ask for from it? So let's look for standing dot. What did I ask for? So new contact we've got. Reset. We've got calculate basis. So we want to say is on ground and slope dir. So is on ground and get slope dir. Doink, doink, doink. Doink. Public boolean is on ground. Return on ground. Public vec3d get slope dir. All right. So let's see if that compiles. Then we should be able to start integrating it. Yay! Okay. The other cool thing is because I didn't. You know what? Probably. This is premature. We replaced two of those classes with exact names. One of the nice things about calling this one footing is it's not going to conflict. But the other ones might. Groovy should be smart enough, but I'm going to yank. What's the other thing is heading dot. Set orientation. We got turn. We left heading pitch, heading yaw, heading roll. So we're going to need, on character heading, we're going to need to be able to get the components. Get pitch. You know what? I could just make them public. There is something to be said for that. Okay. And so then pitch yaw roll. Set orientation, turn, pitch yaw roll. Yeah, okay. So character heading can go. Standing state can stay. Timed state, we called that something different too. Okay, so we're good. Send it! Hopefully the static has not come back. But if it does come back again, like in the future, I at least know sort of what the cause might be. It could be that this little connector guy is misbehaving. The fact that the audio cut out makes me think that that switch was probably like right on the verge of turning itself off. And that was where the static was coming from. Alright, so let's make one of these. Presume everything else is still working correctly. Like, it's funny, she can sit in midair. Like, she can sit on the ground. Stand. Oh, cancel. That's right. Alright. Okay. So now let's start getting to work hacking away. Instead of timed state, we should be able to swap in timed conditional. Timed conditional. Not you, skip you. Yes, replace you, replace you. And so we should be able to. Alright, seems like we recompiled okay. Now we can put her up on the top of the thing to back up the ramp. Okay, let's see if when she falls she goes into the default pose. Yep, okay, so cool. The falling state is still working. Alright. I think that ground's normal. I feel like there was a visualization for this at some point. Just nope, guess not. Okay, so we replaced two classes. Let's look for standing state. Let's call it footing. New footing body. Let's see if that breaks anything. Alright. So far so good. Let's put her up on the ramp, see if she holds position. Oops, center. Control just a little bit forward. Yep, it's trying to keep her stationary, so that's good. Good sign, good sign. Normally she'd slide down slowly, but there's a little bit of station keeping that's based on the slope direction from that standing basis, the footing. So we'll control, and we'll back it up. Make sure she still knows she's falling. Yep, blink. I don't know if you guys can see it, but she goes to the default pose of where her arms are just kind of straight down and her legs are straight out instead of the idle pose. Okay, so that's all working, which means we should be able to go blow that away as well. Look at all this code. It occurs to me I didn't add the other to the... Alright, so everything's still working. Let me just check the Gafen too while we're here. Put you up here already. There we go. Control you. Let's let you fall down too. You should flip. Yep, cool. Alright. That's why Gafen don't take fall damage, because they can glide to the ground. Okay, so that's all good. Awesome. Look at all that code we get to remove. I love deleting code. You don't even know. Alright. Okay. So now let's commit. We got a bunch of new code here. Oh, we got a whole... That's nice. I put it in its own package. Locomotion. Boink. Ah, convenient. Okay, and then get status. Source is going to tell me a ton of stuff, but that's the one we want to add. Yep. Boink, boink, boink. Alright, so we should have... I'll just like double check. Got lots of non-tracked files. It's a pain in the butt. Every now and then I go and clean some of them out. Alright, looks like we're good to commit that. Commit. Move to the standing state. Timed state and character heading into real classes. Footing, timed conditional, and character heading. Push it real good. Alright, let's real quickly try just delete that code. And then maybe I'll just look at what's next. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do anything, but we'll look at what's next and decide. Truthfully, I have to go to the bathroom, but... That's going to be running through my head now. Baby. Center. Alright. So then we can go and delete. Delete you, delete you. Thanks for the memories. Alright. And we maybe... Oh, you know, we could port these locomotion classes. That is something we could probably accomplish. Oh man, that would be so much... that'd be so awesome. Okay, let me just clean these up a little bit while we're here. I could also go ahead and start moving some of these to... like not using def but actual types and things. All right, so I'm just going through these to see if there's anything that's going to trip us up while we're here. Oh yeah, contact avoidance and probe. I need to move back into Java. Oh man, we're getting really close. So once I get all those moved, I should be able to port this new agent driver over to just agent driver and, you know, cut out all the crap and tighten it up. And then have like some ability to override so that I can still have visualizations of things. That's the other thing, is I made that so like the C stuff can toggle on and off, and it'll still, like, before it was always showing the links to the things it can see, but now it's based on whether you've turned on your thing or not. So like it goes away, oops, and then you can see again, and it'll reset, which is kind of useful for, like, again, seeing the lines reset. So that's one of the things I did over the week. Just seeing if there's anything else I can remove in this pass. Nope. Okay, save it. All right. Code is gone. And so, let's tighten these up a little bit to make them more Java friendly already. Good evening, how are you? Glad you could join us. Kicking butt here and taking names as far as getting this stuff into Java code. Let's see if we can take that out. Cool, get rid of that too. Good, awesome. I think you missed my discussion about AI a little bit ago. Because I've been using it to help me with some naming issues, and I've found it a mixed bag of utility and got to be careful not to suck my motivation away. Oh no, it's like, so I was talking about my discussions with Gemini. Using it to help me name classes and stuff is super useful. Sometimes because it gives me like crazy wrong answers. I mean, it's doing its best, and they're logical, the answers it suggests, but because it suggested them and I see it and I go, no, that's not right, that sometimes shows me what the real answer should be. But I was saying the danger in there is that it's exciting to talk to it about my designs, because it's always super positive about it. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, that's like an industry standard. Blah, 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 blah. It makes me feel really good. And so that saps some of the sort of reward for actually completing a project, because you're already getting some of the endorphins. So I was talking about that. But overall, it's been kind of fun to where I don't want it to write code for me. In fact, I resist, but I don't mind having design discussions with it. It's kind of interesting. Are you using model with planning, or I'm talking about just Google Gemini. I'm just asking it questions and having a conversation through the web interface. It's free and unlimited at the moment. So it's quite interesting. I used it to also help me plan out my music studio downstairs, and so far that's been a real fun bit too. All right, so now we can make some more classes. So we want to let's make static locomotion first. Da, 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 da. Mythruna. Implements. Locomotion. Come on, baby, do the locomotion. Okay, that's all good. Let's just cut and paste this. See if it compiles. Rigid body motion type. Station. Station. While we're here, let's make a get station. I just feel like if you have a setter, you should have a getter. Unless there's a good reason not to. We're going to want a whole bunch of... I think I can steal them from here. I want at least those two. And C-rig. There we go. And I think that's okay. Let's see. What's it gonna complain about? Very much surprise me if it goes well the first time. Come on, Java. Alright, position, yes. I believe that is in Mythruna. Let's see if I put it in position, or in just the root. Station get location. So let's do yes, and I'm well aware of when I say I was using AI, I'm only scratching the surface on what it can do, but I do prefer to interact with it at the concept level, because sometimes what it's regurgitating back to me is insightful, and the things that confuses it are also insightful. All right, so that compiled. Look at that. Okay, so before I do the other one, let's just let's oh yeah, I'm gonna regret this. Let's kill the other one first. Okay, cancel. Let's do this. A sometimes takes an angle that I haven't thought of. Yeah, I found what's really interesting is as we were having, I cut and pasted it because I wanted to keep it in my notes, but as we were having our discussion, and it, about naming, and it's keeping track of sort of all the things we've named, which is also useful because I was really trying hard not to have collisions. And then it provides all of this nice summary at the end of what we've discussed and why these things are good, and so the names of the different things and what they're for. And I found this useful. That's why I cut and pasted it, because this is a pretty good summary of what we talked about. So that's what it's good at, I think. Well, I mean, it's good at lots of things, but that's where I find utility. Okay, Playground. Start the simulation. It seems like the chat is extra slow today. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. But like earlier when I was asking you guys for feedback, like it was coming minutes later. So I don't know if it's a exceptionally long loop today or not. You guys should be able to see it or hear it pop, the little twiddle sound when your chat pops up for me. Alright, so that's all working. I should be able to just get rid of this, but let's leave it commented out for the moment. Alright, so let's try the next one. Okay, so kill you. Go over to here. So I just saw your text. I hear ping maybe 15 seconds after sending the message. Okay. So maybe I see it right away and then the ping just comes later. That's fair. Yeah, since the chat's not on the screen anymore for you guys, it's tough for you to see the feedback. There is space to put it on the screen? Oh. It's supposed to be on the screen. Maybe I'm not connected to, yeah, there was that site. So, like, used to be, there was like a web template, and yeah. What was that about? Yeah, so the chat used to be, what's the name of that site? There's a standard site for streaming that will stream elements or something like that, where you build a template. And I had a template with you guys on the side, and then this used to be all the way over to the left or something. And then I thought that there was a you guys in the chat on the right underneath my face. Yeah, I wonder what happened to that. Oh well. Yeah, I thought that was important that you guys could see your own chats. I know YouTube will show you, but I guess. But the nice thing about you guys seeing it on screen is you can see what my delay was. Alright, so let's do bipedal locomotion. I feel like I almost need a full-time person to help me coordinate some of this sometimes. I can't afford to pay anybody, obviously, but my presence online, both the posting of the announcements for this and, you know, pulling out YouTube shorts from these live streams would go a tremendous way of picking up new audience members. That just all takes time. Time and time and time and time. And I haven't even really finished the website refactor. It's just barely functional to get downloads working. Alright, so time conditional, all that stuff's good. Let me just see what it's going to complain about. Oh yeah, all kinds of stuff that was not available on that particular thing. Oh yeah, so 84, that's what I had to fix on the other. OpenClaw or something simpler will probably be able to do those things. Yeah, it could be. I'm not really familiar with those. If anybody has any like tangible ideas and is on the Discord, you know, you feel free to start the discussion there too if you want. I'm not unreceptive. It's kind of like if it requires a learning curve and the learning curve's longer than it takes me to do what I'm already doing, then I'm resistant, even though it would save me time in the long run. So sometimes I'll have to be convinced. But It's a personal failing. Standing new contact. If contact instance of mblock contact oops, mbc equals mblock contact. Oh. Okay, so if it's a mblock contact, we should be able to just grab things like part 1. This is busted. No, it's not. It's not. That's a different type. Okay, I got it. I changed, so like this. There's a specialization of the physics context called mblock contact. When you're using, the block world stuff, in addition to the normal, like this is where you hit and this is the surface normal and stuff, it'll tell you the type of block you hit. But this is different. This is the type of the part of the compound shape, so that's different. I recently changed how the block types were added to mblock context. I think all that is okay. Oh, this has got to be an MBC too. MBC. Let's see if that gets us past that particular error. Well, yes, I'm going to need to import those though. And that is in FizzB, I think. Yeah, oops. Let's just do FizzB. No, that's not. That's the name of the source. mblock fizz mblock fizz, which makes a certain sense. All right, let's see how much farther we get that way. OpenClaw. So what is OpenClaw? Like, what's the 1 sentence, 2 sentence? Okay, that's not it either. Because it's gotta be a celery. Okay. So I'm like in a rush and I'm like not paying attention because that should have been obvious to me, but these are the groovy isms I'm correcting in the Java code. All right, we're further along. And so 197, this should be is on ground. What was the next error? The next one, oh yes, the location stuff. Yes, right, we specifically don't do that. So I'm gonna leave that. Station, get location, loc, get orientation. Oh, we're getting closer. That's right. Get slope. As far as I understand, it is a chat interface to a collection of agents, so you can ask it to find emails featuring X and put it in Excel file, and we'll use the multitude of agents to do it. Okay, so that's a little different than what I'm talking about. What I would like is, what I need is something to keep track of all the social media presence. Like every time, the thing I like, it's funny. The thing I dread the most about setting up these live streams is coming up with a thumbnail, posting, creating the thing in the YouTube, posting to X, posting to Twitter twice, posting to Blue Sky twice, posting to JMonkey Engine, posting to Facebook. And as far as my social media presence goes, and I've considered hiring one of my kids to do this, just to watch all these live streams and pull out little 30-second or 60-second snippets that might be, a teaser for someone who might want to watch a future live stream, that kind of thing. Something where I say something particularly clever or whatever, or show something that's weird looking, or, like those stupid brain rot videos. Anyway, stuff like that. Okay, so let's see if we correctly encoded bipedal motion as all right, so let's see. Let's run it. Oh, I'm in the wrong. There we go. Helps to be in the correct window, the correct terminal. All right, we got like 1 minute less. Is this going to work as is? Ooh, wouldn't that be weirdly crazy? We're gonna see. Step 1. Okay, it compiled. Will it start? Okay, it started. Now, we will create the human female. We will create the human female. Sound like an alien. Okay, and then we will control her. All right, that's the bipedal motion is working. She can back up and go forward, and she can fall off the thing. All right. Now, let us get her to walk up to bed. See if those things are still working. Go to sleep. Go to the bedroom. Yeah, so she's still going to walk all the way over here. So I have to mess with the pathfinding at some point, because this is crazy. I mean, there are no objects like this in the game yet, so it's not a huge deal. But she routinely gets stuck. And the small creatures still get stuck in the side of the doors, so I need to fix that too. But look, hey, the door's working now. Must have just been a glitch. Yeah, see, and I don't know why she goes up the stairs crooked like this. There's no reason for that. And so she gets stuck on the door frame. So so one of the things is in the AI, if I just build in retrying, like she's going to fail in a second. Yeah, so she failed, and now I can do brain. I can have her try again, and then she'll usually figure it out. Okay, so then in here, let's stop following her so we can go here. So should be able to hit the chair, and she'll go walk over and sit down at the chair. Yep, sit down. Okay, now go to sleep. Walk over to the bed. Transition into going to sleep. Yeah, it's not perfect. Like something got glitchy there with, she's supposed to sit and then sit back and turn around, but as long as it works, I'm okay with it at this point. Because there are no beds in the game yet either. But hey, it worked. That's almost too amazing. Yeah, awesome. Any other last questions or things you guys want to discuss before I call it a night? But yeah, that was like too cool that the last thing actually worked. Pretty neat. The camera clipping is eyesore. Why don't you set the render for some near clip? Because I like it. Because that. Oh, so that's a feature of this, right? There's a lot that I need, because I need to be able to like see inside this room. Right, so that it's like the game is not meant to do that, right? But but the physics playground, no, like super useful, the fact that I can just clip through the wall here and see everything inside the room. Because like otherwise I wouldn't have been able to see her at all. Right here I can see her walk from the bed, and I can see her go over to the chair. I can see her go back to the bed. And that would be almost impossible if there was a wall in front of my face right now, like this, right? Like I could just clip in a little bit and I can see. That's the only reason it's like that, because otherwise I agree with you. And in the game, actually, the near clip is set super close. Like you can, in the game, you can go right up nose to the wall. But that's why. It's just, for this, it's just easier if I can clip through the walls. In fact, it was 0.1 or something, and I've increased it to 1 meter or 2 meters. It's like I made it larger because like it's just useful. Like, yeah, because we can't hardly get like yeah, I think it's already clipping at 1 meter, so I pushed it out from even JMonkey Engine's defaults so that I can see inside things. Yeah, but you need to have like a little slider to just peel it in and out, because then I could even increase it when I want to. But that's working. Cool. Yeah, right. Well, you'd only want it to outline within this Z distance, right? So you'd have to render the scene twice almost. But yeah, it'd be cool to have a little wireframe clip. Or the other thing is to have it be like the little halo around the player. But again, like I like to see the whole room because I need to interact with all this stuff potentially. So again, it's just a feature of the playground. I find it really useful in even like game editors and stuff where the clip is set further out than it would be for the player at runtime because of this issue. Like if I was being because if I was using this as a game level editor, for example, and I wanted to be able to place chairs and books and stuff, I'd want like a clip like this where it would be really easy for me to like see inside the rooms. But it would be like, I do agree it would be nice to have it as a setting in this editor, because there have been times running around behind the player that I kind of want to see what it would look like from the player's point of view or their character's point of view. Anyway, so that's cool. It's all working. Yay! We've got so much of this code converted. The last thing really is, so the contact avoidance of probe, which I think there's already Java code as the basis anyway, because we copied that over from Mythruna almost directly. And then the big deal is the nav function, which is all this garbage here. Needs to be tightened up and cleaned up. And that'll be an opportunity for me to maybe fix some of the glitches at the time. But again, like I said earlier, I'm ignoring glitchy bugs for the moment because I'm just trying to get this in the game. And then if I do it correctly, the playground can still be used to develop them and fix them, so I don't have to wait for the game to launch and be in a world. I can have these little test setups in the playground to test things out and still be able to like iterate on it quickly, and then be able to see that directly reflected in the game. So that'll be like the cool next step after we get all this integrated. But I'm trying to cut a release in June because it'll be like the 14th anniversary of that public release of the old engine. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I think that's where I'm going to cut it. If you would like to, please. Where's my thing? Where's my thanks? There it goes. So like, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Then you get notified about these live streams before they happen, which would be kind of cool. Or if you are on the Discord, you get notified there too. All right, thanks guys. It's been real. If you're working on a creative endeavor, I hope you have as much success this week as I hope to have. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.